So I feel like my job is to heal out loud and be so much myself that every woman who encounters Girl Just Heal feels that she has no other choice but to heal and grow and evolve into the best version of herself, because that's exactly what she's surrounded by the moment she enters this space. What's poppin', homegirls? Welcome back to the Girl Just Heal podcast. I'm Neimoya Basden, and Chad, listen. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you healing? Drop me a comment. Let me know all the things. Y'all know I'm concerned and want to know just how y'all are doing. How are you navigating your healing journey? I know that it is really tough, especially we're going into a season or we're in the holiday season rather. And it's very tough around this time for a lot of people. A lot of grief starts to set in for the holiday season, and my heart is with you. My heart and my prayers are with you as you navigate this season. If this is a hard season for you, just know that it does get better. There will be glory after this, but in the meantime, I am praying for you, and I'm praying that you are able to navigate this season and come out of this season or on the other side of this seasonal grief or holiday grief, however you want to term it, but just come out on the other side even better than you went in. And that is just my prayer for you. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that this holiday season, you just take some time to reflect and just not only reflect on what you're grateful for, but just take some time to reflect on life itself and all of the good things that have happened despite, the losses that you may have felt. So I just want to encourage you with that. We're going to go ahead and get into this episode. I'm going to start by reading a homegirl review. Y'all know I love to read these homegirl reviews, okay? So this review comes from Diamond Eyes 41. It says, love this podcast. It's very inspiring. My favorite thing is the prayer cards and the Girl Just Heal mantra at the end. Yes, homegirl. Diamond Eyes 41. Thank you so much for this review. Honey, she says she loved the prayer cards. That's almost everybody's most favorite part of these episodes are the prayer cards, and that Girl Just Heal mantra has been a hit. It has been, homegirls have been, listen, they've been clinging on to that. I've had homegirls send me DMs where they have like stickers of it on their mirrors, and they wrote it on a sticky note, put it in the bathroom, in their bedrooms. They got it in the car. They got it everywhere. This Girl Just Heal mantra. And I love seeing it so much. And I love it. I love everything about it. So y'all already know what time it is, baby. It's time for the prayer cards. Prayer cards. It is time for the prayer cards. Prayer cards. Eight. Prayer cards. Prayer cards. Eight. It's time for the prayer cards, y'all. Y'all already know these cards be locked and loaded, so get ready because God finna say something to us through these prayer cards as he always does, and I am just excited about it. Super excited. I cannot wait. These prayer cards really are the highlight of these episodes for real. Not even just for y'all, but for me. Like, I love these prayer cards so much because it just gives me that extra push that I need, and it's just very encouraging. And the homegirls been going out getting prayer cards. They've been DMing pictures of them finding the prayer cards and all that good stuff. Like, I love that. So let's get into it. Our scripture for today is Psalm chapter 112, verse 4. And it says, a light shines in the dark for honest people, for those who are merciful and kind and good. Listen, come on. Woof, listen, boy, that's going to set me on fire already. It said, a light shines in the dark for honest people, for those who are merciful and kind and good. Listen, that last episode, we just dealt with the matters of the heart and getting your heart in check. And this prayer card just told us that a light shines in the dark. When you don't see no way out, when your situation all seems lost, all seems hopeless, a light is going to shine in the dark for you. If you are an honest person, you're merciful, you're graceful with other people, you are kind, you are good. Oh my goodness. Listen, let's go to another version. We are already in the New Living Translation version, so we're going to just stay right there in the New Living Translation version. And it says, light shines in the darkness for the godly. They are generous, compassionate, and righteous. Come on. I love that. Let's do, that prompted me to go to Amplify, because Amplify be giving it a little more. All right. Amplify says, light arises in the darkness for the upright. He is gracious and compassionate and righteous, upright in right standing with God. Listen, if you living right, you are in right standing with God. I don't know about y'all, baby, but knowing that I'm in right standing with God, that makes me excited. Like, that gets me super excited, just knowing that I am in right standing with God, all because I made the decision to be an honest person. I made the decision to just be a good person in a world of so many people, because it is what it is. We have bad people in the world. In the world of so many bad people, why not be a good one? Why not be a good person? And you're going to reap the benefits of being a good person. Even as kids, we are taught to be honest. Tell the truth. It doesn't matter if you think you're going to get in trouble. It don't matter if it's going to hurt a little bit. Always be honest and tell the truth. And that is no different with how God is with us. Be honest. Tell the truth. He is faithful. He is gracious. He is loving. Now, the Bible tells us he reigns on the just as well as the unjust. Now, he reigns on the unjust, those ones that have not switched over their hearts yet, those ones those people that are still out there and they ain't got it together yet. God still loves you as well, and he's still waiting on you, and he's welcoming you with open arms. But baby, the ones who say, God, here I am, come into my life. Lord, do what it is that you want to do in my life. Oh my goodness, God handle us a little differently. Listen. My God gonna handle us a little differently, because we've made the choice to turn it all over to him and become the best version of ourselves, that version that he is calling us to be. Because we can all become a version of ourselves, but I want to be the version of me that God is calling me to be. Whew. Listen, y'all know them scriptures be getting me fired up, but we gonna get into this episode, y'all. Drop me a comment. Let me know how y'all feel about that scripture. That was Psalm chapter 112, verse 4. So we gonna get into this episode, and I'm back in the devotional, y'all. I don't know what it is about this devotional, but baby, it really got me in a chokehold. I love this devotional so much. And it's just like one of them things, like every time I go in Ross or like Burlington or a store like that, like I will pick up a devotional book. I will pick up a planner. I'll pick up a journal, like something like that, because I'm like, eventually I'm going to use it. I have so many just trinkets and books from these places. But this is a little guide time for women, 365 daily devotionals. I don't know what it is about this little blue book, baby, but when y'all see this little blue book coming to the podcast, baby, brace yourselves, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do a devotional. Now, the title of this devotional is The Storyteller. And the scripture they gave us is Psalm chapter 107, verse 2. And it says, let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. All right, so the devotional says, going to the mailbox at this time of year is an exciting adventure. You never know what you're going to get. When you open the mailbox and see all those white envelopes holding Christmas cards, it's thrilling to rip them open, gaze at the pictures, and read the letters. Some families write pages updating you on every family member and trip taken. Some friends have a picture with a simple "Have a very Merry Christmas," and others will ride along the middle with a picture and quick update. Each of these tells a story. We all have a story to tell, a creative, intricate story designed just for us by the one who determines our steps. It does not matter if your card has a single picture of just you, or you with the husband, or you with the husband and 5 kids. It does not matter if your car has a picture of your apartment, your dream home, your convertible, or your minivan. It is a story that is beautifully yours, and one that should be nourished and nurtured every step of the way. And then they have like some questions. This is a time for you to reflect. It says, your story changes as you do. Pray that as it does, you keep your eyes on the storyteller. Reflect on your current story for a few minutes. What is your prayer as you continue on your journey? And I wanted to ask that question again. What is your prayer as you continue on your journey? As your story is still written, so often we see people who God have answered their prayers. Listen, let me tell you, we hear people tell the stories of God answering their prayer. God came through for me. He blessed me with this. We hear all of that and we see the good news. But what we don't often hear is the process. We don't often hear that. We see the woman who was blessed with kids, but we don't see the process that she had to go through before she got those children. We see the woman who was blessed with a spouse, but we don't see the process, those lonely nights she cried, those times when she doubted herself, when she doubted her worth, when she asked God, Lord, am I worthy for a husband? Lord, am I worthy to have children? God, am I worthy to be in good grace with you? We don't see that process, but we can't focus so much on the promise and be very blind to the fact that everyone who has a promise and who's telling their story, they also have a process. They also went through a process. So before you start comparing your story to somebody else's, before you start comparing your life to somebody else's, before you start complaining because your story has not reached the promise yet, before you start complaining about that, just think that everybody who is now telling their story, everybody who has now been blessed by God, they went through a process. I was talking to a friend and we were just talking about how in life we have to go through like different processes, and sometimes we can make things look so easy to other people to where like they just jump out there and they just start doing stuff because we have made it look so easy. But what they don't understand is that we have been through a process. We have been through a lengthy process, or your process could have been a short process, but it's still your process. And I even think about me and with how the area of life that I'm in now with Girl Just Heal, I've had so much success. This podcast is reaching millions of women across the world, but it's a process to it. You hear me share my story on this podcast. If you're in the Facebook community, I'm sharing my story. You see the growth that it's experiencing. But baby, it's a process. It's still a process to all of that. So while I'm able to tell my story now, there's a process that led up to me being able to speak out, me being able to sit in the light that I'm sitting in now, me being able to operate in the area that God has called me to operate in. It's a process. And so I would be and even in my life, I'm not going to even say I would be. I'm just going to be 100% honest. We keeping it real, raw, and regular. I was the person who was sitting on the side of, Lord, why is it always happening for them? Like they always telling their story. I see all these women. And for me, one of the things that I'm actively waiting on is for God to bless me with children. If you've been around for any amount of time, then you know that I am currently waiting on God to bless me with children. But it was a point in my life where I would look at people who would come out and share their stories. I would be in like groups that were supporting women who experience pregnancy loss, or maybe they're waiting on kids and all of that. I would be in these support groups, and it would do something to me to see women sharing their stories of they're pregnant, they're having children. And one day God really checked me, and he's like, you are becoming jealous and envious of these women, but you don't know the hell that these women went through to get to the promise. We always want to get to the promise. We always want to be the one that has this powerful story and tell this powerful story. Your time gonna come, but you got to go through the process, and you can't look at other people when they telling their story and get envious and get jealous and get like, well, Lord, I'm getting a little impatient because what about me? God is still building you. Whatever area of life that you find yourself in right now, take solace in the fact that God is still building you. He's still preparing you. You cannot race through the process. If you try to run through the process, it's going to be for nothing. You're going to get to the promise and you ain't going to know how to manage the promise because you didn't sit your tail through the process. You have to sit through the process in order to manage the promise. And so I'm going to ask that question again that they asked, and I really want you to take some time and reflect on that. The question is, what is your prayer as you continue on your journey? Reflect on your current story and see, what is it that I'm praying for as I continue on my journey? God, I'm praying that you help me keep my eyes on you. I'm praying that you help me realize and just recognize in every season of my life what character that you are trying to build in me. What ways about myself I need to change? What areas do I need to grow in? Lord, in this season of my journey, I want your hand to be all in my business. Sometimes we try to take God's hand about our business, but now, Lord, I need you to be all in my business, mixing it around, because I'm longing to get to the side where I can share my story. I may be single now, but Lord, I'm going through a process where I know you have somebody waiting for me. But if I can't be single and go through the process, when I get to the promise, I'm going to mess it up. Oh, my goodness. Listen, I feel this. Listen, I don't know who you are, but enjoy your process. And when I say enjoy, I don't mean that you're going to have fun. It's going to be all laughs and giggles. No. What I'm saying is, in every moment of your process, just find those lessons that God is trying to teach you. Lord, what character are you trying to build in me? Because listen, when I was going through, I had got out of a terrible relationship as I was waiting on my husband. But even at that time, like, I wasn't just in my mind, I wasn't saying, Lord, I'm waiting on my husband. In my mind, I was done with relationships. I told my best friend I was done. That relationship took everything in me. Whew. It took everything out of me, stripped me of every single thing. My goodness, just stripped me down. And I got to a point to where I was like, I was done. But in that, as I look back now, if I didn't enjoy, quote unquote, and remember, I'm not talking about just have fun, but if I didn't sit there and actually go through and learn and pay attention during the process, there was no way that when I met my husband, when we started courting, there was no way I could have been the woman that I should have been, the woman that he needed me to be. At that stage when we met, I couldn't have been her if I would have just skipped the process. And so I'm telling you, don't try to skip through the process. I know you see everybody else. It seems like everybody around you getting engaged, everybody around you getting married, everybody around you having kids, everybody around you getting a new job, everybody around you starting that business is being successful. Baby, sit in your process, take your process, learn in your process, and get ready for the growth and the evolution that is coming. It's all a part of your process. Your story, it can't be. Your story cannot be if you don't go through the process. That's where the story is made at. Like, do you understand? Your story is being constructed in your process, so that when you go through the process and come on the other side, and now you are faced with telling your story, and you faced with, oh, now I'm at the promise. Now I can access it. Now God has answered my prayer. All of that you went through in the process, you go now tell of God's goodness. It's your testimony. You telling how God brought you out when you lost all hope, how he brought you out. And I want to encourage you, go through the process. Your story is being built right now. Quit comparing your story and your process to everybody else's. Your story is being built. God is taking his precious time with you. And I know it may seem long, but our time is not God's time. Like, we don't even operate on the same time zone, time frame, none of that with God. We can't even understand God's timing. Like, oh my goodness, we don't even understand God's timing. I don't even understand why God do it, when he do it, or how he do it. We can't understand that. All we can do is give God access to us. And during the process, we are enjoying it every step of the way, because we know that after it, we gonna reach the promise. After the process, our story gonna come. After the process, we gonna help other people through. But we can't do that. We cannot do that, homegirls. If we are trying to jet through the process, you trying to run through the process, you trying to speed through the process, and then it's very, very vital components and elements and things that you need in the process. That's why you can't skip it. So I just encourage you. That's all I have for this episode, this devotional. I love this devotional so much because it causes you to really think about things that you may not think about, and it puts a spin on a lot of things that we may not just sit and think about. So I just encourage you that just enjoy your process, because your story is being built during the process. And baby, when it comes time for you to release that story, it's going to be one that the world is waiting on. But it can't be such a powerful story if you don't go through the process. So let's go ahead and close out with the Girl Just Heal mantra. Y'all already know how we do. Drop in, y'all, if you can, all right? If you can close your eyes. Let's drop in and repeat this mantra. So the Girl Just Heal mantra is, I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear, and today I choose to heal. I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear, and today I choose to heal. I accept myself for who I am. I free myself from all fear, and today I choose to heal. So thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Girl Just Heal podcast. I'm Neimoya Basden, and until we speak again, girl, just heal. All right, homegirl, thank you for tuning in to the Girl Just Heal podcast. We want to make sure that we continue supporting you during your healing journey, so be sure to connect with us on all social media platforms at Girl Just Heal, and also join our private Girl Just Heal Facebook community so that you can continue to heal, grow, and evolve.